Hello, everyone, and welcome to Next Gen PA, a podcast run by the World Affairs Council of Harrisburg, where we bring in voices from the next generation of world leaders. Today, we have Mia Caldonetti with us, a first year student at Trinity College Dublin, to discuss going abroad for college. A lot of incoming college students don't realize that this is even an option for them, let alone something people regularly do. And it can be a daunting process going across the world for college, but it's a great way to experience new things and open yourself up to the world. So, thank you, Mia, for being here. And please introduce yourself to the listeners.
Hi, I am Mia Caldonetti. I am a junior fresher at Trinity College Dublin, and which is freshman for translation. And I'm studying business, economics, political science, and sociology, or BES for short.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of different things combined into one. That's so cool that they
Yeah.
offer that.
Yes. Their programs are very, very unique. It's one of the things that attracted me to them, so we can get into that.
And is the college like right in the heart of Dublin, or where is it like really located?
Yes, it is absolutely in the heart of Dublin. It's actually a gated. It used to be a monastery. It was founded in 1592, and it is just beautiful. And it's gated around these stone walls. It's known for its little attraction, the Book of Kells, which is it's like one of the oldest like Christian literature. It's really beautiful. It's a really cool thing to look at. But yeah, so there is a lot of tourism coming in and out, and it's right in the middle of Dublin.
Oh, wow. That's so cool being at college at like a tourist attraction too. And you can just like wake
Yeah.
up and go see stuff that people travel to see. So that's
Mhm.
really unique. So let's start at the beginning of your college process. Why did you want to go to college in Dublin or, just go to college abroad in general?
There were a lot of different factors. To start, I kind of always had international schools on my horizon. And when I was a kid, I think everyone went through like a marine biology phase. Like I loved sharks and jellyfish and stuff. And there was a guy who I read about in a book, and he was a professor at James Cook University in Australia. So that's kind of what like that was when I was 8 years old because I read the I Survived books in middle school, or that was elementary school. But I that's like what first put me on the possibility that there were other schools out there because he's like sometimes that just like doesn't even you don't even think about that. Then when it came time to apply, Trinity specifically was like put on my radar after I did a pre-college program at Berkeley. So I was already willing to travel pretty far. Berkeley was my number one at that point because I really enjoyed it. And I was talking to my grandfather's landlord who is an alum of Trinity. And he was like, well, you're willing to go
Okay.
6 hour flight into the West. Why not just go 6 hour flight to the East? And that's when I started looking over there and started to notice like cheaper tuition rate, way cheaper tuition rates. Oh my gosh. Like I wasn't even aware of how much, even with the international rate, it's so much cheaper. Obviously, like the flights add to it and the living costs, but that was a huge factor for me. And then I also just started to look like at the political climate. That was a personal choice, but that was definitely something that maybe swayed me a little bit more to kind of branch out and see what was beyond the U.S.
Yeah, get out while you can with the politics.
Yeah, honestly. And 4 years, I just needed a little break. I thought like it aligned right there. So
Yeah, I haven't thought about it that way. If you're willing to travel 6 hours to Berkeley, why not travel
yeah.
6 or 7 hours to Dublin? So that's a good
Hmm.
way to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
And what was it particularly about Dublin or Ireland that appealed to you? And why did you particularly, select that college?
Yeah, so the Irish diaspora is huge. I feel like there's so many people in the United States who consider themselves part Irish. I know that my great grandfather, he was like a Union fighter, and they actually feature him, which was kind of cool in the Epic Museum at in Dublin. My grandmother was part of Irish politics, and I'm part of that diaspora. And I just wanted to like kind of explore my roots just a little bit. We're from Donegal originally, and another so like that was one of the reasons I looked at it in addition to my grandfather's landlord, which was just a funny coincidence. But when I started, one thing that I did throughout all of my applications, which included US applications as well, is I wouldn't go on the tours. I would look up the head of the department that I was interested first. And I would email them and I would say, "Hey, I'm going to be at your college for this amount of time. When can we meet for coffee?" And honestly, most of the times they were excited to get an email and they would say yes. So I did that at Trinity, and that was very, very helpful. I learned a lot of things that might make me stand out as an applicant. And I did that at U Galway, which is also in Ireland. I did it at U Glasgow, U Edinburgh. Those are both in Scotland. I did it in at SOAS London, which is well in London, and then Brunel University, which is in Uxbridge, right outside of London. And that was like my little tour. That was 1 week. That was in the span of 1 week. So I was jumping. I was running like crazy. But Ireland specifically, Trinity was just beautiful. I loved the campus and I could see myself living in that city. It's a very walkable city and it fit my lifestyle, and I also was very attracted to the programs that they offered because they were just so incredibly unique.
So did you, like, travel to Ireland and the UK to go on these little, like, coffee meetings?
Yes, I did. I'm very privileged to be able to do that. I realize that that is not in everyone's grasp. If you are able to set up a Zoom meeting with them, I highly suggest it because they do remember you. They were very, very nice. Every single person I met with was very receptive. Obviously, it's nice to see the campus. But I do have plenty of friends here who did not see the campus and they just went for it, and good for them, and they're very happy.
That's good, just, like, general college advice is to reach
Mm.
out to the head of the department that you want to major in. Yeah, I applied to college, like, during COVID, so I couldn't see the
Yeah.
campuses, like, even in the
Oh.
United States.
Mhm.
So, I definitely relate to those people that are applying abroad and can't go over there to see it, but don't let
Mhm.
that be, like, the thing that makes you not apply.
I mean, more than anything, it's like the person to person contact or like the Zoom meetings, the call, like doing something you can to get information and to I referenced it. I didn't name drop, but I like referenced it in my essay of like I learned how to do yada yada when I met with so and so, like when I went there or when I had a Zoom meeting with them or when I emailed with them. Because it shows
Mhm.
commitment to the university and specifically to the program that you're gonna like stay there and commit.
Yeah, you want them to remember you. That makes
Hmm.
sense. Let's go to the application process because I imagine just in general, applying to college is very daunting and
Hmm.
scary. Talk to me about the application process specifically for colleges abroad. You can talk about, for Trinity College. Just walk me through that and offer any advice to the listeners.
Okay, so I ended up applying to 3 colleges overseas, and what I did was I finished my a Common App essay for the States before school started, just, like, as soon as it came out, pretty much. I tried really hard to, like, finish that. Then I started applying to my state schools or, like, the United States schools, not my state, and I finished by the early action deadline. They don't start applications over here until November, so or like mid-November. So I did it immediately when the applications came out for November. For Trinity, there was this thing called CAO. I did not need to do that. That was a mistake. That was for European students. So
Okay.
I accidentally did 2 applications. The one, like the CAO, I just abandoned, and eventually, because I got rejected from the CAO because I didn't pay any attention to it. But
Mhm.
you have to go through Trinity's portal specifically. So if anyone's thinking of applying to Trinity, don't go to CAO. That's a different thing. Then for the UK schools, they have a thing called UCAS. It's like the Common App. It's kind of like the Common App, but instead of applying to a school, you apply to a program. You can apply it to 5 different programs. Those programs can each be from a different school or all from the same school. So if you get accepted into one program from the same school, you could get rejected from another because they don't have gen eds over here. So it's all you go straight into your major, you will graduate. Sometimes in 3 years. They do a lot of 3 year degrees here. If not in 3 years, there's 4 year programs which are called with placement, and then you can graduate with a job. Like they'll help you job search during your fourth year, which is really nice.
Wow, yeah,
Um,
that's really great.
I applied to University of Edinburgh and Brunel University. Brunel was that was probably like between that and Trinity because Uxbridge is just beautiful. You got to write your essays. You only submit all your stats and your essays. All of them go to all your colleges that you're applying to, all of the programs. So it's
Mhm.
not very specific. You don't have to do a bunch of different supplemental essays based on what
Mhm.
program you're doing. So that's like the main difference.
Do you submit, like, your SAT and ACT scores too, or do
Mhm.
they, like, accept those?
They do. They also so they don't accept APs
Okay.
for credit, but they do ask you to submit your AP scores just to gauge where you're at. The schools I applied to asked for like fours and fives for APs, and for SATs they're looking for like 1350s and above, kind of for SATs. ACTs I don't remember. I didn't do the ACT, but that's sort of what their range is for
Gotcha.
those specific schools.
What was, like, the biggest difficulties or hurdles that you experienced applying to college abroad? Was the
um,
visa application hard too?
that's fun. So visas, we don't need visas. The US
Oh,
does not
wow.
need visas to study abroad. I don't know why. I don't know what the reasoning is for that. You do have to register with immigration when you get here,
Mhm.
but you do not need a visa. So that is very nice for the US students. I don't know what it's like for the UK. I just know that that's the case for Ireland. And
Mhm.
with recent legislation, that might change, unfortunately. We will see.
Yeah.
But so far, you do not need a visa. So that makes the whole process a lot easier. You just have to register within 90 days of getting here.
I didn't know that, that's so easy.
Yeah, and the immigration process is so nice. I mean, I'm nice as in like they're very understanding, and at least at Trinity, the global room is as they call it, they have a specialist in getting you appointments with immigration and helping you out with that. So it's really
Mhm.
it's not too bad, not too stressful.
It seems like they want, like, foreigners to apply since they waived that visa, so that's great.
Yeah.
I know when I studied abroad in Italy for a month, we did have to have a student visa, and that was, like,
Hmm.
the one, like, really stressful thing that we had to do, so I'm glad that you didn't have to go through that.
Yeah, me too.
Compared to, like, US college applications, which one was, like, easier, the abroad or US applications?
In terms of workload, I'm gonna say the abroad, just because I at that point I had already finished most of my essays and I could just reuse them. In terms of just confusion, I would say the abroad, just because I had no idea what to expect going into it. I had, like I said before we started the podcast, like I went online, I had no American references. There were so many
Mhm.
EU ones, a lot of Indian ones, a lot of YouTubers that wanted to help, but like no Americans that I could figure out how to the application process. So I was kind of starting from scratch. So I hope this does help people. I will say that just trying to figure it out was more confusing.
And what's, like, one big piece of advice that you have for people going through the application process abroad?
So I always suggest, unless you speak the language, I really don't suggest going there as an international student. Because I did kind of look at Italy because I'm also Italian. I looked at, and
Mhm.
I loved Italy when I went there. And I looked at Spain a little bit because I was like, I want to work on my Spanish. And I know like the immersion process is like important to that. So I was looking at those, and then I was like, Mia, you are not going to be able to do your schoolwork. You are not going to comprehend the information as you're supposed to if you really, really want to succeed. And these are like high level courses. So I'd say, like, yeah, it's great that you want to experience new cultures. That's amazing. But Europe is so accessible. So if you do want to travel, that's that's an option. But I would suggest going to school in a place that you really, really confidently speak the language. If you're like a fluent Spanish speaker, knock yourself out, go to Spain. Yeah, I'd say don't waste your time with something that you're gonna really struggle all 4 years with.
Yeah, you have to be realistic. Like,
Yeah.
it would be fun to live in Italy, but if you don't know Italian, like, you're not gonna
Mhm.
get what you want out of college, which is ultimately, like, learning and preparing you for your career, so yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you wanna talk a little bit about, like, the programs with the college and just
Yes.
explain more about that?
Mhm. So there are two really unique ones. So like there's joint honors, which is something where you can choose like two majors basically. I'd say the best comparison I can make is just dual majors. in my opinion, the way they lay it out is a lot simpler because you can apply to those dual majors. So they already have a curriculum set up for you. You don't have as much choice when it comes to electives, but it's kind of nice because it's still all within your subject. And then as you specialize in your joint honors, you can choose what electives you want. So it's you start with a really nice foundation and then start to specialize in your interests. Now with my program, and there's two programs that are pretty unique. It's BES, which is Business, Economics, and Social Studies. That's what I'm studying. The social studies stands for Political Science and Sociology. Then there is PPES, which didn't get a word for their accurate acronym. Theirs is the exact same thing as BES, but instead of business, it's philosophy. So that's what a lot of lawyers go into, I'd say, or aspiring politicians. Business and economics and like best is definitely more for probably like I would say corporate lawyers if they're interested in going to law, if they want to apply that political science. But it's really just for people who kind of want the flexibility of the US gen eds, which is what I was a little nervous about because I am an art student at heart. Like I love history, I love English, but I needed something that would allow me some like some STEM, just a little aspect of STEM. And
Yeah.
I think the business and economics touch as you go along, you get to specialize. So my first year, I have intro to all of those as my curriculum pretty much, and then a couple electives sprinkled in. Then in my second year, I start to choose two or three that I want to focus on more. The other one kind of takes a minor or a backseat. Then my third year, I choose two or one. You can choose one or two that you absolutely want to specialize in. That's going to be your major. That's what you're going to get your degrees in. And then your fourth year is your capstone project, which is when you take that specialization and you start to make your capstone project and you present it to potential employers. And then they come to the college, they recruit you. We have a lot of fairs, and there's a lot of job placement that comes out of that program with local companies. And there's so many banking and financial companies that are in Dublin because of the tax rates that they have for corporates or corporations. So that is some nice like opportunities there.
Hmm. That's great that they have you present your capstone to future employers. Here in the States, or at least at Temple, we did a capstone. I know a lot of people do too. But it just felt for me like I was just, like, doing it for nothing, like, writing this, like, 40-page paper for, like,
Right.
I don't know. So that's great that you're actually, like, using it in career search and applying it for that as well.
Hmm.
And also, I like that they, like, laid it all out for you because that's, like especially as a freshman, you're like, "There's so many courses that I have to take," and
Yeah.
it's really scary looking ahead,
Hmm.
so I'm glad you have that all laid out and they have that.
Yeah. It was very, very helpful, and they do a great job of explaining it, I think, on the websites. Like, if you go onto the Trinity website and you look at and honestly, all of the schools I looked at were pretty, good in explaining each of their courses and how they work throughout your time at their school. But you can, like, watch videos, and they'll have, like, an all-encompassing curriculum explaining, like, what you are going to be doing.
Are there, like, a lot of international students there that you've seen?
Dublin is a very international city in general, so I
Mhm.
think that kinda comes with the territory, but Trinity, I think it's like 25% of their student body is international students.
Wow.
That might have to do with fees, because we do pay a little bit more than the locals, but, we have so many people from all around the world. In every country, you're gonna find, like, a Trinity grad, and I mean, not as much from the States. I think a lot of people from the States did Smart Start, which is their international student immersion program. You come a week early, you get early access to your dorm, you get to go on field trips and learn about Irish history. Really nice, very helpful. It was like almost all Americans. It was like, I don't know, like 100 Americans, and then we moved in and it was like people from India. I know is a big population. We had people from I met people from Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, and obviously throughout the EU, and a couple Canadians as well. I met a girl from Chile. It's really, really neat. And you all get together in this program or in the global room, which is the international student hub. So yeah, it's very accessible for the international students.
Mhm. That's great that you get exposed to all those different cultures, not just, the Irish culture, but people and students coming from all over the world. And
Mhm.
I think that's what like college is all about, just
Yeah.
exposing yourself to new ideas and new cultures and not just, the little bubble that you have in Central PA. That's so great that you experience that. Talk to me a little bit about the overall culture of the college in regards of like dorms. Is there like a dining hall? Do they have clubs? How it compares to the regular US college experience?
Right. So Trinity has they don't have clubs, they have societies. And they're the same thing, but they're societies, they're fancy. And there's a freshers fair, which is this giant courtyard. There's tents, there's food, there's music, and it's you go around and you sign up for these clubs. There's a slight fee to join them if you want to be an actual member. They're all you can go to their meetings for free and just check it out, see if you like it. But if you want to be an official member, some of the clubs are more prestigious, so if you put it on your resume, it might look a little bit better if you're an actual member. I know, like the Phil, for example, or the Philosophy Society is actually a debate society,
Mhm.
and their rivals are Cambridge, and Cambridge and Trinity were both founded by Queen Elizabeth I, so they are very competitive in that aspect for debate and sports and other things. They have a lot of sports clubs. I think they have over 120 societies.
Oh, wow.
So I joined the DUBS Society, which is I think is stands for the Dublin University Business Economics Society. I think. Don't quote me on that. And then I joined the Phil. Very excited for that because I was a YAG kid for all the YAG kids out there. And then I joined the hiking club, which they don't just do. They're more of an adventure club than anything. They go like to the beach and they do like cold dunks and they travel and hike these beautiful scenic hills. I mean, Ireland, the natural landscape of Ireland is absolutely gorgeous. Um, and there's just so many. There's so much. There's everything is there, and there's going to be a society for you. They have multiple different martial arts as well, which was kind of cool.
Ooh,
But
that's cool.
yeah, and then as for the dorms, like you mentioned, oh, and we do have a dining hall. Just to put that, we have like a couple, so that's nice. You do not have a dining plan. There's no food plan. You just pay as you go, which I kind of like, because I didn't really like the idea of like paying $8,000 a year and then not using all of it. So, and
Yeah.
now I can pay wherever I'd like. Then for the dorms, there's multiple different student accommodations that you could live on. I got lucky. I got into Trinity Hall, which is like only for freshers or for freshmen. And I have you can apply for a single room, which is what I got. If you're more likely to get a single flat without a roommate, if or sorry, single room without a roommate, if you say you're okay with comfortable with co-ed. Almost everything is set up in flats. So I have 6 roommates. They're all great. They're all from different places, which is really, really neat. They're all great. And we all just like come together and we have a kitchen, we have a living area that's just open to all of us, but we each have our own rooms. And the rooms are really nice. So, and the neighborhood for Trinity Hall is amazing. So I love that. But then there's also like Kavanaugh Court and Cork Street, and that's where a lot of the students will go.
Do you have to share a like, shower or bathroom with like the whole hall, or what's that
No, you
like?
do not. You get your own shower and you get your own shower and you get your own toilet and mirror and sink and all that. It's very small, which is fine. Like I'm not complaining. It's very nice. The shower doesn't actually have like a definitive shower spot. It's like all of the tile floor, and then you just close the curtain, and the curtain doesn't reach the ground. So don't get a cotton bath mat. Just get a plastic one, because otherwise that could be very gross.
So it sounds like that the overall atmosphere is pretty similar to the United States. So if you're like worried about if you go to college in Dublin, it's not going to be, your traditional college experience with like the
Mm,
clubs and everything. It sounds like it's
yeah.
pretty similar.
Yeah. I would say the only thing different is the drinking culture. That's like the biggest culture shock I had. It's way healthier here. Because I know like in the US, let's face it, like 18-year-olds, they're experiencing their first taste of freedom. They're gonna want to drink, they're gonna want to go to parties. That's natural. But they're drinking to get drunk a lot of the times. So these
Mhm.
kids are going to parties and like it's their first experience and then they're just getting absolutely wasted. And here, that is not the case. People go to pubs to socialize. It does not matter if you're drinking or not, really. It's more of a pub culture than a drinking culture, I should say.
Mhm.
And then there's clubbing, and we all go out together. And actually, the halls like organize it, because you can drink. I should specify, you can drink when you're 18 over here for the
Mhm.
viewers. So it feels a lot safer than, like, potentially ruining your career drinking at 18 years old and getting caught. And also, nobody's going to pressure you to drink. If anyone was worried about that aspect of the culture, because my I had some relatives that were like, "Don't, you can drink over there. Don't, go crazy." And I'm like, this is the least pressure I've ever felt, genuinely. So I think it's just so, because it's so destigmatized here, and people can just go out in public, have a drink, talk. I like Smithwick more than Guinness. Don't come for me, but that's my favorite Irish beer, Smithwick. And it's so much more open, and like it's more of a community than anything.
Yeah, it's not, like, taboo, or it's, like,
No.
it's part of the culture,
Hmm.
just drinking, and I feel like that's a lot with, like, European countries, like, it's not looked down upon, and it's much more healthy, like
Hmm.
you said, you're not drinking to get drunk and black
Right.
out or anything like that, so
Yes,
that's good to
exactly.
hear. Have you experienced, like, any, like, downsides to going to college abroad?
Yes, absolutely. It is just kind of stressful. Like, you're gonna be stressed. I've been running around like crazy, to be honest, and I haven't gotten into a routine yet. So I like routine comforts me. Obviously, you're gonna feel a little homesick. I don't think I feel as homesick as I do. I feel like I miss my parents. So
Mhm.
I don't really miss the town itself. I miss my parents more than anything. But you're just gonna have to adjust to it. You will find people. I found people so fast. That was my number one concern. What if it takes me like weeks to find a group or just someone to hang out with? And I'm just gonna be lonely in my room the whole time. And I should not have been concerned about that whatsoever. So I just think like the main negative is like, you are moving to a new country, and I feel like that's very vague, but just the whole weight of it all, because it is a huge deal. You're gonna be. I mean, I personally was very excited the entire time. I don't think I felt a touch of nervousness before coming here. And then when I
Mhm.
got here, it was just so much. And I felt like I was running around constantly. I was figuring out public transportation. There's so much that is different here, that you just got to find your roots, kind of. And I feel like that may just be the case for every college experience, because if you're going to a new place, you got to figure out where to go, when to go, what your time is, and that you're going to be running around a lot. So maybe that's just a college experience in general, but I think that was like the major negative that I felt. But now that I've sort of adjusted, it's definitely gotten better.
Yeah, you're not just changing going to college, like that big change, but you're also moving to a whole different country. So there's that on
Right.
top of it. But like you said, since there's a lot of international students, I feel like it would be easier to, find those people who are also going through the same thing as you
Hmm.
and getting that group of friends or someone you can rely on. So that is good to hear. Are there any other things that you wanna share with the viewers? Any advice, any experiences, culture shocks?
So one thing I forgot to mention, I think, was, so I
Mhm.
think it's generally assumed that if you come over here, you can travel as much as you want. Unfortunately, that is not the case. It is highly interconnected. I had no idea how cheap it is to like fly. It's $50 or €50 to fly from Ireland to Portugal on Ryanair. And like, that's insane. That's like the cost of an Uber in New York. That's
Yeah.
insane to me. The tram here is €2, and that's not with your student discount. You get 50% off, so it's €1 per ride, and you get 50 cents off depending on how long your ride is. And it's just, the tram is, oh god, I love the tram so much. It's called the Lewis, and it's incredible. It is the best form of public transportation I've ever used in my life. And I look, I'm a huge Philly fan. I love Temple. I will say it's better than the SEPTA. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sure it
That's my
is.
hot take.
I'm sure.
So I think the like, if you're gonna worry about anything, do not worry about how to get places. It is so easy. The bus is more complicated. I don't like the bus yet. Maybe I just need to learn it more and go on with my friends more because I'm still a little confused. But the tram is easy and you know exactly where you're going. Everything's very labeled very clearly. But one thing about like traveling internationally is the Schengen visa. There's a part of Europe called Schengen. I'm not sure what it is. I just learned about this recently. You need to
Mhm.
get that in order to travel there because you're living here for more than 90 days. So because your residency is like it's not just you're not just a random couple from America like my parents or just hopping countries for a bit and then going back to work. Like you're
Mhm.
here, you have a residency here. So you do need to get that visa if you want to apply to travel. Another visa is just the UK visa. So that allows you to travel to the UK whenever you feel like you really want to, if you want to travel. I wouldn't suggest traveling in your first year, but definitely apply for the visa in your first year because spots fill up quick and it's going to take a while to actually get an appointment because everyone wants to travel throughout Europe. It's amazing.
Mhm.
So don't just assume that you can come over here. That's my advice. Like, don't just assume that because you're in Ireland, you can take the train to, well, I guess you can't because there's a sea there. Or you can take the ferry to Wales. You can't do that. That's what I was
Okay.
going to do because I wanted to see a Wrexham game, but I can't. I'm very sad.
That's good to know. I didn't know that. Yeah, I would have assumed that you could just, go everywhere. That's good to know. I know when I was in Italy, we did have to apply for the Schengen visa. I could travel everywhere, but that was just because I had to get a visa to study abroad in Italy. The public transit in all of Europe is just like so amazing. Like I'm
It's
so mad that the United
incredible.
States doesn't have good public
Yeah.
transit.
I mean, Hershey, where I grew up, is like very walkable.
Yeah.
It's really nice and easy. But if I lived in Reading for like the first couple of years of my life, if I
Mhm.
had the Lewis in Reading, my life would be so much easier. I can't even. The Lewis is just my favorite thing. If all viewers, if you're gonna learn anything from this, just look up the Lewis. It's amazing. If you're gonna go to Ireland, use it. It's just get a temporary leap card. Just even if you're just visiting, like it's very very nice.
Yeah, don't Uber or taxi everywhere. Learn the
No,
public transit system,
yeah.
save money.
Right, because like, it's 20 bucks for an Uber over here, which is still cheap, but, or 20 euro. Excuse me, I need to figure out how to figure that out. But if you top off a Leap card for 20 bucks, it's like an initial payment of $20, you will, you can, just tap your card at the station, get on, you scan again when you get off the Lewis so that you get an extra 50 cents back, which is nice. But don't not scan it because there's random checks from police guards, and then that can you could get a fine up to 100 euro. So that's my advice if you're going to travel to Ireland. But the Europeans really are well traveled. It's incredible because so many have come to America. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
very wily. So they travel all throughout Europe and then they travel abroad. So I guess travel is just like I think travel is part of their culture as well, I'd say, because they're not just staying within Europe. They are going other places. So I think they're just so used to experiencing different countries and cultures that it's secondhand nature for them. And I wish I had that, but I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to get there. So my tuition as an international student was 20 euro a year, or sorry, 20,000 euro a year. And then you can apply for scholarships. I got a 5,000 euro scholarship. So right now it's like at 15,000 about, and which is just, if that's any relation, so that's about like 17 or close to like $16,000
And
USD,
that's for the
which
year, you said, not just a
that's for the
semester?
year.
Wow.
Yeah. And we calculated it with flights, living costs. My rent is not nearly as bad as student accommodation after your first year. All of the costs combined, it would still be cheaper if I went to some D1 or D3 schools in PA. Like
Mhm.
it was just I had no idea. I When I started applying, I had no idea about the tuition costs. It was amazing. So that was a big deal. But and then there's another opportunity that I just want to throw out there because I have a couple of friends doing it to kind of give you us an understanding of. I know Trinity isn't really as well known as Cambridge or Oxford. Trinity was created as a sister school to Cambridge.
Okay.
So it's kind of at that level. And then also they have a partnership with Columbia. So it is kind of Ivy level if you're looking for that kind of education. Depends.
Mhm.
But what they do is that their partnership with Columbia, you can go to Trinity for 2 years and then go to Columbia for 2 years. It's
Oh,
really
wow.
neat.
That's
I'm
great.
not actually, yeah, it's really cool. I'm actually not really sure how it works. But if you're like, I don't want to study abroad for 1 year or even a semester, but I don't want to go there all 4 years, boom, right in the middle. It's perfect. And you have an amazing opportunity at Columbia as well. So that's something that I think is really neat. That they don't I don't think they advertise it enough. I think it's so neat. I
Yeah.
definitely would have considered it. But yeah, if you don't want to stay in Ireland afterwards, you could apply to that program and I think that would be really cool.
Mhm. Yeah, they should definitely advertise that more. That's a great opportunity.
I think Columbia should advertise that more. I think a lot of people would
Yeah.
like to go to Ireland.
So if you're thinking going to college abroad is gonna be more expensive, it's often not the case.
Not at all. We did the calculations with Brunel. That was like the other one that I was really considering. Um, that was definitely a bit more expensive than Trinity, but that was with the flights and living costs and tuition and everything. That was way closer than if I went as an in-state student to like Penn State. So they're like
Mm.
about the same there. If
Mhm.
that gives a good reference.
Well, thank you guys for listening to Next Gen PA. I hope this gave you some perspective on going to college abroad, and I hope you look into it because it's a great opportunity and an easy way to, explore the world going to college abroad. So, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next Gen PA episode.